Hello, and welcome everybody to the Full Send Half Mast Podcast, episode number 42. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, and we're here to talk about some racing, kind of the last two Raw weekend of the 2023 motorsport season. If you noticed on the channel yesterday, I posted a little video that I've been working on over the last few weeks, months, whatever. Time just flies by anymore, of all of the great memorable moments from this year's season, or this year, in all different types of motorsports disciplines. I think it's a pretty cool video. Go check it out if you get the chance. Kind of recap the whole 2023 season. And that's what we're going to do a little bit of here today. We got a little bit of news to cover, as well as all of the NASCAR championship races this weekend at Phoenix. We're going to talk about the season finale there in the World Dirt Championship, the 8 hours of Bahrain. There's some pretty good news there to talk about. We've touched on a bit of that already this weekend. If you guys watched any of our watch parties, we had a great time in there, interacted with all you guys. We had a fun time. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And then we'll talk about the Formula One sprint race and the Grand Prix there in Brazil for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We'll also go over our driver of the week, bonehead of the week polls. We also have another poll coming out after this podcast. I'll talk about that more here in a minute. We'll go over the Formula One points, the drivers and constructors, although the championship and both those are wrapped up, but the battle for P2 and both those are close. And then there is no more races to this weekend, no major races to preview. So we'll do a little bit of radioactive of the week. We got a shout out there, as well as the final one for NASCAR this season. No fantasy picks or anything like that, but we got a lot of race reviews to cover, and that's what we're going to get into. But before we do that, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. W Energy Blends, introducing Neurofactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fill you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides concentration with important aminos and vitamins without the crash that ordinary canned energy drinks just cannot provide. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack today, including 2 flavors and a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description of this video below and use the promo code DIGABOYS for 10% off your order. Thanks to Dubby for their continued sponsorship of the DIGABOYS broadcasting channel. Alrighty, so let's get right into the news. I mean, there's a little bit to talk about here. If you guys caught the ARCA race, the Diamond Desert Casino West Valley 100 there at Phoenix on Thursday night, or it was actually Friday morning before the truck race, we saw William Spallage win the season finale there in the ARCA West, and Sean Hingorani, the drama-filled guy he is, ends up taking the ARCA West championship. So pretty big moment for him. ARCA has been amazing this season, and that capped off the West Series. The main ARCA National Series was been wrapped up a few weeks from now, with Jesse Love taking the title there. We all know he's going to RCR in the Xfinity Series next year, but now Sean Hingorani claims the ARCA West championship. Pretty big moment there for him, I'd say, and Venerini as well. Big moment. And then also, we've been wondering, where's Roman Grosjean going to go in 2024? And we have found that out. He is going to JUCO Hollinger Racing in the IndyCar Series in 2024. I'm not 100% sure if he's replacing Isla or if he's replacing Canapino. The report that I read didn't mention anything of the above, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess, a little bit longer to find out exactly where he is going. There's a 77 or a 78 car, but he will be in IndyCar next year. I think this is a big W for Junko's Hollinger. I think it's a big L for Roman Grosjean. Unfortunately, they have not been quick. This team has really been struggling. Just kind of a backmarker team. Roman Grosjean had that great first season there with Dale Coyne, Rick Ware Racing, and then he moved on to Andretti. Well, looked promising at the beginning of the season. It all kind of just unraveled for him, kind of like Sergio Perez-esque type season. Was very dominant in the first 3-4 races. Looked like he was going to start knocking off wins, compete for a championship, and then fell off the face of the earth. Anything that could have went wrong for him. Kind of a really, really bad, poor season. Lost his ride there at Andretti, and now he is going to be moving on to Junko Hollinger 2024. So we'll have to wait and see what this future holds for Roman Grosjean. I know he's got a lot of talent. I don't think anybody should doubt that, but we'll see what he could do in Junko Hollinger equipment in 2024. And then also, this is a little bit of a rumor. It's kind of been running around a little bit. We've heard rumors that Muniz was going to go to Truck Series race for ThorSport. Well, now there's rumors spreading that he might go to RSS Greenlight, which is Ryan Sieg's team, in 2024 in the Xfinity Series. So we'll have to keep you guys posted and updated on that. But Frankie Muniz rumors are running rampant right now. We don't know what's going to go on with that guy or where he's going to be racing next year, or if he is racing next year. Who knows what the future has in store for Frankie Muniz, but that is the rumor as of yet. Ryan Sieg Racing. Alrighty, that pretty much summarizes my news. You guys want to get into the good stuff, the juicy stuff, right? The race reviews from all the races this weekend, the Formula One at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, which is the Sao Paulo Grand Prix at Brazil, as well as the Truck Xfinity Cup Championship weekend there at Phoenix, as well as the World Endurance Championship finale at Bahrain, the 8 hours of Bahrain. We're going to go straight into the Truck Series race on Friday, the Craftsman 150, which saw championship contender Corey Heim qualifying pole. Ty Majeski looked real fast there in stage one, ends up taking the lead early on in that race, ends up going on to win stage one. Our first major incident of this race, though, was on lap 55 with Chris Hacker and Marco Andretti make contact, ending Marco Andretti's hopes of racing. Chris Hacker, he just had a pitiful weekend. I mean, it carried over into the Xfinity Series race as well. We'll talk more about that in a minute. That was the major crash there in stage two. And Corey Heim ends up surfacing to the lead. It looked like he had the best truck. I'm not going to lie. He looked like he had the best truck in this race. Ends up getting the lead there in stage two. Ends up winning stage two. And then this is when all of the drama begins. We had a red flag on lap 49 when Drew and Connor Jones end up crashing. Big crash. I believe there was a few others involved. I can't exactly remember, but it was a big crash. Red flag the race. This kind of changed the strategy for a lot of the truck contenders. We saw Hocevar stay out on older tires. We saw Heim, Enfinger, Rhodes all pit, stuck him back in traffic. Heim made his way through traffic exceptional after this next restart. Got up to Hocevar, passed him for the relative championship lead in the points, and then Hocevar made a mistake. Got into Corey Heim, turned him around, sent him into, I believe it was Stuart Friesen, and kind of set Heim off, I guess you would say. It gets juicy. So then we had a caution with 21 to go. Bailey Curry just dumped Stephen Parsons. I don't get it. Just absolutely dumped him. I don't know if there was a little bit of animosity there. I don't know if they were racing hard in the back of the pack and tempers are flared, but Bailey Curry just absolutely dumped Stephen Parsons. And that is going to that's going to nominate Bailey Curry as a bonehead move of the week there over Stephen Parsons. It just dumped him. I don't get it. And it dumped the wrong guy because Stephen Parsons was not happy about it. I was surprised we didn't see hands. It's crazy. But this spurred off what we would say the opportunity for Heim to make his payback, right? We saw Grant Enfinger take the lead in the championship battle, of course, over Ben Rhodes. Looked like he was pulling away there with 3 laps to go. Looked like he had the championship sealed up. And Corey Heim absolutely gave up. Absolutely gave up. Didn't even try to go race for the championship. He was behind by a little bit, and instead of trying to run down Rhodes and Enfinger at the end of this race, he just gave up. Backed up to Hocevar, who was flying through the field at this point because he came and took those tires at that caution with 21 to go, and just absolutely put him in the wall. Ended both of their championship hopes right there, and then and there. Uh, Uncalled for. Uncalled for. We mentioned this on the watch party this weekend if you guys were tuned in, but we lost I know Tom did too. We lost a lot of respect for Corey Heim this weekend. We've been his biggest supporters. We've been on his side all season long. Say, especially me. I mean, I've called him to pick him to win many races. I was saying he needs to be in an Xfinity ride in 2024. He is a top-notch talent. But just the way he acted and handled himself at the end of this race with the championship to earn yet in front of him, and he just gave up. He did. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. He was still in contention to win the championship. He had an opportunity to go run down Enfinger and Rhodes. Maybe a little bit of damage affected his truck a little bit, but I mean, still, he still had a fast truck. He had an opportunity to win this, and he just gave up. He decided, I'm not winning this championship. I don't care about this championship. I'm ending Hocevar's race, and that's what he did, and it ended both of their hopes. Hocevar said, and after the wreck happened, I saw that one coming. So, I'm a huge Hocevar fan. I am. I really am. Me and Tom have been on Hocevar all year long, supporting him. We think he is the next big, best thing out there, and he's going to prove a lot next year in the Cup Series. I'm excited for it, but unfortunately, didn't get to walk out a champion in the trucks. And this kind of spurred off what I would consider absolute chaos. We had 4 overtime finishes to settle this race. We saw Enfinger, like, the few restarts ago, end up making contact with Ben Rhodes and end up having to go back and put tires on and had to drive his way through the field. I think he was like 25th at some point with like 2 restarts, like second overtime attempt or something like that. Drove all the way up to the field. And then we saw just shenanigans by Zane Smith, who was leading the race. I think he missed his 2 to 3 shift and end up just scattering the transmission in front of the field. Ben Rhodes makes contact, destroys the right front of his truck. And at this point, Enfinger's buried in traffic. Heim's a lap down, I believe. I think he might have got his lap back on this caution, but just chaos, and Enfinger, it looks like he's out of it. Now it looks like Enfinger's back in. It looks like Ben Rhodes has got all the trouble now, and he's well ahead of Enfinger. Just absolute drama towards the end of this race. And when it comes to the final restart, Rhodes faded because that damage. Enfinger was flying on them new tires, and he came 1 spot short of getting by Rhodes there at the checkered for the championship, and Ben Rhodes hangs on. 2-time champion Ben Rhodes. Unbelievable. I think the real MVP here for Ben Rhodes, or on that team for ThorSport, is Rich Lucius. I put a video out saying this guy was running 25th all year long. Couldn't even get out of his own way. It looked like he lost his ability to crew chief a race or call a race. Couldn't set up a car to save his life. And here he is, makes it to championship 4, sets up a championship winning car or truck, and ends up going on to win the championship. Just a MVP season there for Rich Lucius. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think he deserves a lot of credit for this championship for Ben Rhodes and just like the beginning of his season here. So that was a big moment for him. And then also, if to mention your winner of this race was Christian Eckes. He ends up winning the finale. Definitely was a championship contender early in the year. Kind of faded there at the playoff time. I think what really solidified that for him was that Talladega race when he went from like second, made a terrible move to try and get the lead there at the end, and lost like 15, 20 spots. That really kind of derailed his championship run right there. Like he was in such a hole at Miami, is nothing he could have done. So he gets the season finale, wins the championship or the championship race there in the trucks. But Ben Rhodes is your 2023 champion. Amazing moment for him. Amazing moment for ThorSport, and I think even a bigger moment for Ford. And we'll talk about that more because I think as much as we bagged on Ford this year as being like the absolute dumpster fire of a manufacturer this year, they were. I mean, if you look at it, they got outrun every single week by Chevy and Toyota. Ford was non-existent for 75% of this year. Just absolutely terrible. And they end up claiming the championship in all 3 series this weekend, which we'll talk about more here in a minute. But incredible moment for ThorSport, for Ben Rhodes, and especially for Ford and Rich Lucius. Big moment. But lots of drama, and we're going to nominate Bailey Curry for turning Stephen Parsons, as well as Corey Heim just giving up on the championship there. Just really, just what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Lost a lot of respect for Corey Haim this weekend. All right, now it's time to talk about the 8 Hours of Bahrain, the World Endurance Championship finale. We mentioned last week in the podcast, if you guys tuned in, it was between both Toyotas, the 8 and the 7 for the Hypercar Championship. The number 8 Toyota was coming in with a 15-point lead over the number 7. So basically, they just had to finish better than 5th, and they would be the champion, no matter where the 7 finished. Well, it didn't matter because turn 1, they both started on the front row, and the number 7 Toyota gets turned on lap 1 into turn 1 by the number 2 Cadillac of Earl Bamber, I believe was behind the wheel, locked it up, got into the number 7, sent him back, and it became an absolute drive by the 7 team. Every driver that jumped in that car, they started charging and charging through the field. They climbed all the way back up to P2. Unfortunate, though, the number 8 wins, secured the championship. What a great season there was for Toyota, getting 1-2 in the championship, and the number 8 Toyota surviving, really. I mean, a lot of things could have went wrong to cost them this championship, and they just ran a perfect race and won the race. Congratulations to them. That was the drivers in the number 8 would be Hartley, Hirakawa, and Buemi, and they did an amazing job this season to claim that championship. And I still want to give a shout out to the number 7 team because they drove their hearts out to get back up to P2 at the end of this race. They passed literally every single car on the track to get up to P2. Just an unbelievable drive there by those drivers. To do that, unfortunately, did not claim the championship. And then when it comes to LMP2, we saw the number 41 team, WRT. They won the race and the championship there in LMP2, which is the final race in LMP2 this season, the World Endurance Championship. Because if you know, next year in the World Endurance Championship is going to be Hypercar, is going to be the one prototype class, and then they're going to run GT3s instead of GTE. So big change there in the World Endurance Championship. So in the kind of the hoorah last send-off for LMP2 in the World Endurance Championship, we see the number 41 WRT team end up taking the championship and the race win. And we already know that the number 33 GTE Cadillac wins the championship in GTE. They secured it 2 races ago, or last race, I believe. So going into this race, it was really just for win, bragging rights. And the number 83 Iron Dames win the race. And not only just won this race, and then they won it in dominating fashion. If you guys do not know about the Iron Dames, it is an all-female driver lineup, pink car, and it's mostly a woman-led team, right? You got women engineers and mechanics, you got women drivers. It's kind of it's a really cool concept. I love it, and they've been super competitive this year. They were leading in the 24-hour Le Mans for a good number of hours there until they had trouble late that cost them the chance to win that race. They've had contention at Spa. They were there for a win. At Fuji even, they finished top 3 with a chance to win in that race as well. This was a long time coming. And what the biggest crime is in motorsports is we want women to be successful in our sport, in motorsports, right? Because in no other sport do you see women competing against men at the top level in an even playing field, right? You don't see it. And here we have it in motorsports. This is a thing that we have. This is what makes motorsports unique and special. And to see a women team, all women, female lineup, end up winning this race for GTE here at Bahrain, it was just an absolute amazing moment. What the real crime is that it's not promoted nationally, internationally, worldwide. I don't know. There should be a feature, a movie, something made to represent this team. There's been a few small outletted media coverages that mostly cover motorsports that have covered it. World Endurance Championship's done a pretty good job at promoting it, but like, where's the NBC, CNN, Fox? Where are all your major news outlets not covering this? Why has ESPN not picked this up? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I think this is a huge feat. This should be promoted better than it has been, and it's unfortunate. These drivers really earned this win. They did. They really earned this win. This wasn't just they got handed this win or whatever. No, they earned this win. They dominated this race, and it's just a crime that it's not being promoted and put down on the main media sphere, the main media outlets. But that's why the Dega Boys are here. We're here to give you all the best breaking stories. We are the hub of motorsports. We are going to cover it. We're going to show everybody in the world that the Iron Dames are the real thing, and I'm excited to see what they do next year, whether they do the GT3 racing, or maybe a potential they could pick up a manufacturer and they can run some hypercar next year. That'd be pretty dang cool. We'll have to wait and see. But congratulations to Iron Dames winning this race in dominating fashion. All female lineup. Just an amazing story. I wish it was covered more. Alrighty, let's move on to the Xfinity Series race. This is the Xfinity Series Championship. We saw Sammy Smith qualify on pole for this race. And the first major incident was on lap 3. Justin Allgaier, the oldest guy in the championship floor, made an absolute terrible mistake here. Racing with Nemechek, really lap 3. There's no reason to be racing that early. Stage 1, stage 2 don't matter. You don't earn stage points. Stage points don't come into play. Racing way too hard against Nemechek, ends up spinning out, has to go all the way to the back, has basically wasted a set of tires. He's got a set of 3-lap spin tires is what he was on. So that really affected him. The major incident there, though, was on lap 17. I really want to talk about this for a second. This restart violation for Sheldon Creed makes absolutely no sense to me. Absolutely zero. I think he's in like the third, maybe the fourth, second row, something like that on the inside, towards the front. He goes below the white line that it signified the track distance, but there is no out of bounds at Phoenix. There's only tracks that have out of bounds with the super speedways, right? So he doesn't improve his position. He just goes below the white line before the start finish line, and they give him a restart violation for that. That is the most BDN, Big Daddy NASCAR crap I've ever seen. I can't believe that. That really just irritates me. You're gonna tell him there is no out of bounds line unless you're going to a restart and you can't go to the bottom. And then you saw a couple other guys do it later in the race and they didn't call it either. So I don't get it. I don't get it. That was so inconsistent. You opened up Pandora's box and then you just don't even follow your own rules or whatever guidelines or whatever rules you're making up on the spot. If it's paved and there's no out of bounds, why can't you use it on a restart? I don't get it. I'm really frustrated with this call. I don't like it. They should, if you don't want people going below there, then just make everything out of bounds that's below the white line. Because if you're going to signify it's out of bounds on a restart, then what's the point? What's the point? There, he's racing. He didn't improve his position. If not anything, he probably lost time by doing that. So I don't understand it. So yeah, that really frustrated me. I had to talk about that for a minute. But John Hunter Nemechek went on to win stage 1. He looked like he had the fastest car. Like I said, it was kind of like Corey Heim in the truck race. Just got out to an early lead and was the fastest car. And then caution on lap 86. Daniel the Hack Hemrick ends up crashing. No surprise there. Good luck to the Cup field next year or trying to avoid that moving chicane. Cole Custer actually surfaced to the front here in the stage 2. It was really quick, and he ended up winning stage 2. Looked like it was his race now to win. It looked like Nemechek was playing a little bit of catch up. Then we had, this is the best part of the whole race. Caution on lap 102, Yaley is in the fan-controlled car. If you guys don't know what the fan-controlled car is, the fans are the crew chief on this car. They make all the decisions, all the calls, and it doesn't make any sense to me. As Tom said, hopefully Yaley like re-upped his life insurance policy before this race, because I don't understand that whole idea. I mean, that is the most ridiculous thing. That's some BDN stuff if I ever heard it. We can't have enough drama as it is. Now we're going to let fans start calling races. That's just ridiculous. I mean, if we're going to let fans call a race, at least let our Dega Boys chat start calling the races, because they've got some knowledge. I'll tell you what. Anybody that subscribed to Dega Boys knows they've got some little bit of thought behind their ears, you know? Like, they know what they're doing. So why can't we get a Dega Boys controlled car out on the track next year? And let's get away from this fan-controlled stuff, because most of the fans don't know what the heck's going on. Yeah, that was ridiculous. I don't understand that's some BDN stuff right there. I don't get it. God bless JJ Yaley, I guess, for taking that role on this weekend, really being a good sport about it. But yep, they end up wrecking on lap 102. And like I mentioned with that Allgaier on those spin tires, he ended up having to use them in certain stage 2. Really maintained the top 10 spot, but like really his whole race was over by lap 3. I mean, he was playing catch up the whole day. It's too short of a race, 200 lap race at Phoenix, track that's really difficult to pass on, even in Xfinity cars, where you can really drive these cars to their limit and make some moves. If you got it hooked up, if you're brave enough, you can make moves. Great car for racing and he was just really playing catch up all day. It really put him in a hole. Lap 60 or 64 to go. We saw Myatt Snyder crash. I believe his brakes failed or something. He had a really weird incident there going into turn 3. Looked like it wheel hopped. It was just really weird. Just really weird scenario there. End up wrecking. Um, and then it went green from there on. Custer's leading the race. Nemechek doesn't look like he's going to catch him. Allgaier and Mayer just about fifth, fourth through sixth, somewhere in there. Looked like the race was over. Custer's going to win the race. Caution, 5 to go. Anthony Alfredo sets up for one of these wild restarts. Custer end up on this restart, losing a couple spots off the initial start. And then Nemechek goes into the wall. I didn't really catch what happened to him, but he ended up fading. I think he finished like 28th. When it looked like he was going to win the championship there with 2 to go. It's crazy. But Custer ends up resurfacing to the lead there at the very end of the race, ends up going on to win the championship on this crazy overtime restart. And again, congratulations to Ford. They win another championship. They swept the championships this weekend. Unbelievable for Ford. I mean, who had Cole Custer? I mean, a lot of people probably did. I did. I didn't. I didn't have Custer winning this championship at all. I would have thought Austin Hill, Nemechek, Allgaier, those were the 3 best cars all year. At certain points of the year, those were the 3 guys that you were like, okay, yeah, these guys can win championships. And then Mayer came on really late there in the season, looked like he could potentially be a champion, but I think his inexperience had a lot to do with that. And I don't think the junior motorsports cars were all that fast. And then Allgaier, like I said, just kind of threw it away there with 3 to go. Or lap 3 of the race, I mean. Just getting too aggressive too early, racing for something that he didn't need to. Really hampered him. And then, yeah, Nemechek ended up getting in the wall there late. I didn't quite catch exactly what happened, but that really affected him there at the end. I think he finished like 28th. So congratulations to Cole Custer. What a season, man. I would not have predicted it. Not only Cole Custer, but SHR and Ford. Like SHR had the worst season they've ever had in NASCAR. Even in their first season when they had Stewart and Newman race forming the Cup Series in 2009, they were still like more competitive than they've been this year. I mean, Kevin Harvick really kind of carried the banner all season long. I mean, Briscoe, where was he all season? He was in the final 8, or he was in the championship, or in the round of 8 last year, and was probably 4 laps away from making it to the final 4. Won at Phoenix. He had all the momentum. He was like a championship favorite there towards the end of Martinsville last year. And then Ryan Preece, I mean, just had one good race at Martinsville early in the year, and then there's nothing all year long. He ran good at the Clash. That was it. And then Almirola, I mean, he dang near stole the Martinsville race. But besides that, I mean, this guy was blowing tires in the front of the field at Atlanta. I mean, wrecking, couldn't get out of his own way. DNF master. I mean, SHR was just dumpster this year. Riley Herbst ended up winning a race there at the end of the season. In the Xfinity Series, Custer won a couple races there. It was just a really weird year for SHR. Really weird year for Ford. But Cole Custer, the man, got the championship. Unbelievable. That is the biggest shocker for me, honestly. Like, I could see in the Truck Series, I could see Ben Rhodes win the championship. He's done it before. He's a great driver. Thorsport has always been a powerhouse team. That wasn't really surprised there, but this one really was. This was a big surprise to me. So congratulations to Cole Custer, SHR, and Ford again for winning a championship. This is crazy. Yeah, just great racing in that race. Honestly, there was a little bit of shenanigans there, but overall, pretty damn good race. All right, let's talk about the Formula One Sao Paulo sprint race. We saw Lando Norris qualify on pole in the shootout. It didn't take long for Verstappen to get to the lead. He got to the lead on lap 1, turn 1, and went on to basically win the race from there. Oscar Piastri had a little bit of an incident there on the first lap. Ends up running off track. Lost a few spots there. But at the end of the race, we saw Verstappen P1, Lando Norris P2, and Sergio Perez P3. So Perez back on a podium somewhere, somehow. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. That's about all you could say about that race. That's all there was. That was all there was. It wasn't much there in that race. Verstappen just doing Verstappen things again. And then in the Grand Prix, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, we saw Verstappen qualifying pole and qualifying. And then Charles Leclerc. I don't even know what to say about this, but ends up wrecking on the safety lap. Tom was saying there was some mechanical issues. It was just a weird scenario. Just weird. Just looped it back around, wrecked the car. If it was a mechanical issue, what is Ferrari doing? Tom Tom said this all season long. Ferrari is the biggest hindrance to Charles Leclerc. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. The amount of dumpster fire that Ferrari is for Charles Leclerc. It's just sad. And he is literally carrying this team. I mean, yes, Sainz has got the victory at uh Singapore, but really that was Charles Leclerc's race to win. It just the team orders played in the favor of Sainz that race because he get qualified ahead of him. So, um, yeah, I think Leclerc and Ferrari are just in a weird scenario right now, and I'm with Tom. I'm starting to believe it now. If this was a mechanical issue, what is going on? What is going on? Like, why? Why are we doing this to Charles Leclerc? I don't get it. I don't get. I don't get it. I don't. There's nothing more I could say about it. That's just what happened. He just had an issue and wrecked the formation lap, and his Grand Prix was over before it even started. Just unfortunate. And then we ended up getting the green there, and on the initial start, we had a safety car because we saw Albon and Magnussen end up crashing. It looked like Magnussen's teammate Hulkenberg ended up getting into Magnussen ended up squeezing into Hulkenberg. Weird incident there. It was weird. They were like 4 or 5 wide. It just looked like a scenario where they didn't need to be pressing into turn 1. It looked like Magnussen. I don't understand what he was doing because he had like 2 or 3 lanes to the left of him getting into the preferred left-hander, and he goes right up into Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg lefts off the gas, tags the rear end of Magnussen. Magnussen goes around. Albon goes into the wall. It was just the weirdest wreck. And so Magnussen ends up wrecking. But I'm going to nominate Magnussen here as a bonehead move of the week because, like I said, he had 3 lanes to the bottom of him here into turn 1, and it is a left-hand turn. He's in the preferred lane. I don't understand why he's trying to go wide to clear people for a wider inch. I don't get it. I don't get it. And ends up taking himself out, takes out Albon, really hampered. I think Daniel Ricciardo got damage from this. It looked like Magnussen, his teammate Hulkenberg got some damage from this. It was just a really weird incident. I don't get it. But yeah, that ended up taking out Albon and Magnussen for the race. And then for the end of the race here, Verstappen ends up winning. Norris is P2, but the major drama here was the final lap between Alonso and Perez. This amazing battle. I mean, this was insane. They're duking it out, swapping third place back and forth. And it looked like it was anybody's race to finish P3 and for that final podium spot. It looked like both of them wanted it bad. And then Alonso is getting the lead there later in that lap, and it looks like he's got it. And then Sergio Perez comes out of nowhere. They start drag racing to the line, and Alonso hangs on in a photo finish to the line for P3. What an incredible race. I mean, I think that was the most drive and will to succeed I've seen out of Perez all season long. I mean, that was crazy. But Alonso back on the podium where he belongs. Just a great moment for Alonso. The crowd was going absolutely bananas for Alonso. It was an awesome moment. But yeah, Alonso back on the podium, guys. Is back on the podium. It's been a long time, man. That McLaren or that I've said it on the podcast. I think I've had an episode out last week. We've seen the Aston Martin team started off so strong this year, and then they fell off a cliff. Absolutely fell off a cliff. And so now to see Alonso back on the podium is just an incredible moment. And then also to note, Lando Norris did end up getting the fast lap, get that bonus point there at the end of the race. But Verstappen, I think he's won all but 3 Grand Prix. I think Perez won 2 early on, and then Sainz won 1. So just an incredible year for Verstappen. We'll talk about that more here in a minute when we go over this new poll that's coming out after this podcast. So you guys got to vote on because we are curious, and we're going to crown our first ever Dega Boys Driver of the Year. So I'll talk about that more here in a minute. Let's look at the points real quick for Formula One before we move on to the Cup race on Sunday. Your points in the drivers, we already know Verstappen's got it sealed up but for second, Sergio Perez gained some ground back on Hamilton that he was losing. It's been bleeding points for the last 6, 8, 10 Grand Prix. I mean, Hamilton's been coming out of nowhere to steal the second championship, but with 2 races to go, it's a 32-point gap. Hamilton behind Perez. I think Perez can do it. I think he'll seal the second in championship standings. And then for constructors, it's narrowing even more, even with Leclerc going out. The Mercedes didn't run too well. Sainz had a pretty decent finish. So Ferrari has closed the gap down to 20 points behind Mercedes now. With 2 races to go, that's very doable. Very, very doable. So the constructors title, It's looking real tight, but the drivers for second doesn't look like it's going to change much. I think Perez might be able to hang on to this one, which is surprising because I would have told you 4 weeks ago that Hamilton was going to end up getting it right at the end of the season, but right now it's not looking that way. It's looking like it's all Sergio. Alrighty, let's talk about the Cup race. We were here Sunday for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship watch party. We had a great time. Lots of you guys in the chat. We had a great time. We talked about a lot of things. Watched a really good race, honestly. There wasn't a lot of drama in this race like we saw in the Truck and Xfinity, which was a good change of pace because, yes, as we all love a little bit of drama, especially me and Tom, we love the drama. We're here for the drama, but it's good to see at least one race not have the drama this weekend. We wanted to see a good championship battle between four really good deserving drivers, and that's what we saw. So we'll talk about it, right? Qualifying was very important. This is probably the one race a year that qualifying means the most because that determines getting that number one pit stall, which William Byron achieved pole on Saturday for this race. It gets the number one pit stall. So William Byron ends up winning stage one. That's the track position game that played into that. I think Bell and Blaney both qualified outside the top 10. They drove themselves up to the top 10 by the end of stage one. I think they were sitting at like 9th and 10th or 8th and 9th, something like that by the end of stage one. It was a pretty good recovery. I think Larson was sitting about P4 or 5 behind like Chastain, Buescher, and Harvick. But then the first major incident happens, lap 109. Christopher Bell. Brakes go out on the car. Goes right into the wall. Unfortunate for Christopher Bell. That's got to be the biggest blow right there. Like, not even just losing the race. I mean, that's one thing. Going out there and racing the full race and being able to not get it done, that's one thing. But not even having a chance to get to the end of the race to race for this championship is so unfortunate for Christopher Bell. Looked like he had a car that was going to be there at the end with Larson and Byron and Blaney like we saw. Just wasn't. This wasn't his day. Wasn't his year. And the bad luck struck. But I do want to mention one thing, though, is Christopher Bell was a very deserving championship 4 contender here. Me and Tom had him out in the first or second round. I had him out in the first. I believe Tom had him out in the second round. Very, very deserving year. I mean, he really proved a lot. I didn't think that he would be able to back it up this year from last year after making the championship 4 last year with all those walk-off wins, but he did. He did. That team put together a great drive. I thought it was over again for him. Like, there's multiple times I counted him out and out and out. Like, when he lost that race at Vegas to Larson, I was like, there's no way Bell's going to be able to win a race in this round and make it to the playoffs. And then he goes out the next week at Homestead, almost goes a lap down and ends up recovering to make it to the Final Four and win the race. I mean, just an incredible year. Just unfortunate the way it ended there for Bell. It really is. I think that he is going to be back next year. I'm not going to. You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This is a shame on me moment. So I'm not counting him out anymore, right? So great year for Bell, deserving, just unfortunate end to his season. And then Chris Buescher was really fast at this point of the race. He ends up going on to win stage 2. So what could have been, right? All the speed he showed. And then he had a bad pit stop at the end of stage 2, and that pit sequence really cost him a chance at the win here. Fell back to like 8th or 9th on that pit stop sequence, lost a bunch of spots, wasn't able to recover. And then it turned into a race for the lead between Chastain and Blaney, and a lot of hard racing, a lot of contact was made. Maybe a little bit of hurt feelings by Blaney. Blaney was behind him, had a pretty good gap to Larson behind him. There was no reason to pass Chastain. You don't need to win the race. There's no rule saying you got to win the race to win the championship. You just have to finish ahead of the other guys. And so we're on the watch party. We're just screaming at Blaney like, come on, man. Just like, don't overdrive. Don't wreck. Don't mess with Chastain. Just finish right behind him. It's all good to go. And he was just getting aggressive. He shoved Chastain up the track. Chastain battled back. I think Chastain had a better car, honestly. I think Blaney was just driving desperate, trying to win this race because he wanted to walk off winner champion all in one night and stay ahead of Larson. And just don't mess with Chastain, man. Just don't mess with Chastain. So good thing it didn't come into play, though, because we had a caution with 37 to go. Kyle Busch spins. I don't get this either. By himself, it just was really suspicious at the moment of because Larson's in a Chevy, Byron's in a Chevy. I think Tom's saying it. We're getting our tinfoil hats out and stuff, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't see it, but our chat was living it up. They were like getting those tinfoil hats on as well. We thought there was some kind of conspiracy going on. And it looked like it too, because we get this pit stop here after this caution. Blaney loses a few spots. Larson ends up winning the race off pit road. It looks like this is Larson's championship to win now, just like 2021, all over again. But I believe it was really about 21 to go. Blaney was just hounding Larson. Finally was able to get by him and set off into the sunset in P2 to win the championship. And Chastain goes on to win the finale, which nobody really talked about. Big moment for Chastain there. But Blaney. Ryan Blaney, my guys. He wins the championship. Again, like I said with Bell, I had this guy out in the first round. This guy went from March in the dump truck master. We made videos on this. We talked about how terrible his cars were, just experimental. This guy was struggling to get lead lap finishes in March. In April even. It just bled on and on. It wasn't a contender to win anything early in this year. Just absolute dumpster fire. He wasn't even in the top 16 of points at one point of the year. I mean, he was just struggling to finish races on the lead lap. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This guy had the best championship run I've ever seen, besides maybe Tony Stewart 2011. Incredible. He wins two of the championship races. He wins Talladega, and then he goes on and wins Martinsville, walk-off win there. Gets here. I predicted him and Larson were going to race for the championship, but I didn't think he could do it. I didn't think he could do it, man. I didn't think he could do it, and he did. I can't believe the season that Blaney had. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What an absolute insane season for Ryan Blaney. This guy deserves all the credit. Very deserving champion. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock. I can't believe it. But Blaney is the man. Look at Blaney, man. I got some good stuff coming out with that as well. You guys stay tuned to the channel. There's some great content coming. But I'm going to talk about the driver of the year or driver of the week, bonehead of the week, and then I'll move into the driver of the year. I kind of got to make a case for each of these guys real quick before you guys vote after this podcast. Driver of the week, Iron Dames. All three of them. I'm going to nominate them for the World Endurance Championship win. Huge moment in motorsports. Monumental. It's just a shame that it's not being presented like that, but they deserve it. Driver of the week for them. Cole Custer. That was a sneaky championship that he did this weekend, nominating him. And then I'm also going to nominate Ryan Blaney. What a drive. What an absolute drive. What a playoff run he had. Look at Blaney, man. Champion in the Cup Series. Those are your drivers of the week nominees. And then for bonehead of the week, obviously it's going to be Corey Heim dumping Carson Hocevar, Kevin Magnussen squeezing his teammate, just uncalled for, and then Bailey Curry wrecking Stephen Parsons. That will be your bonehead moves of the week nominees. Alrighty, let's get into the driver of the year nominee. All right. So, 4 nominees here. We have Max Verstappen. And why Max Verstappen deserves it is because he's won dang near every race this year in Formula 1. Won the championship with like 6 races remaining. He's won basically all the crown jewels in Formula 1 this year. Just basically won 10 Grand Prix in a row. I mean, there's just nothing more you could say about it. I mean, this guy is literally the greatest of our era in Formula 1. I mean, in the season he had, it's just unbelievable. There's literally nothing more you could say about Max Verstappen at this point. That is the driver of the year right there. Nominee. It doesn't matter what happens in the final 2 Formula 1 races to come. It doesn't matter. He's sealed it. He's the driver of the year. He is a nominee for sure. All right, and then after that, it's Alex Palou. Alex Palou won the championship in IndyCar with 1 race to go. That doesn't happen in modern day IndyCar racing. With how close and how tight and competitive that series is, doesn't happen. What really did it for me was that race at Canada, Toronto. His front wing is broken. Absolutely broken off, and he is still running faster than guys on fresh tires behind him. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What an absolute amazing drive. That race really solidified it for me. He won the road course at Indianapolis this year, won multiple races. Just his strategies were unreal. It didn't matter if he was running third, fifth. It didn't matter. He was going to find a way to win that race. And unbelievable. The only thing he didn't do this year was win an oval. But if you look at it, he should have won the Indy 500. Rinus VeeKay had a lot to do with that, and he still came back to finish fourth. So, Alex Palou. And then I want to nominate Pipo Derani as well. Races for Whelen Action Express in the IMSA series, the number 31. Cadillac, best driver on the team, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He kind of put that team on his back this year. Him and Alexander Sims win the Drivers' Championship. I believe that he put on an amazing year. They win the 12 Hours Sebring. They sealed the championship. They could have won more races, honestly. They were probably going to be a contender in 24-hour Le Mans until Jack Aiken wrecked it lap 1. I mean, really just put this team on his back. He was refusing to lose, wanted to win this championship, and deserved it. So, nominee for me. And then, Ryan Blaney, for sure. For sure, Ryan Blaney. You can't not nominate Ryan Blaney. This man came into this year on a losing streak. It got up to 59 races. This guy couldn't win anything. This guy was in dump trucks, plowing, garbage can cars. I mean, we said his career was ending. Like, there's no way he was going to recover from this. And then he goes out and has the best championship run of all time. Like, what the heck happened? I don't believe it. Yeah, Ryan Blaney, nominee for Driver of the Year. He has to be. I mean, who else beats him here in this category? Who's that fourth spot? It's Ryan Blaney, man. This guy's a champion, and he earned it. He was on a huge winless streak. Wins the Coke 600, wins Talladega, wins at Martinsville, and then wins the championship. I mean, this guy won it like 3 of the most iconic tracks in all of NASCAR in one season. And the championship. I mean, he's the man. He's the Driver of the Year nominee for sure. So that post will be up after the podcast. Make sure to go vote on it. I'm curious to see what you guys think. And whatever one wins will be the Dega Boys nominee for Driver of the Year, their first ever. So you got to do that. Go vote on that. Alrighty. Yeah, there is no races this weekend, man. I'm over here wanting to preview some races for you guys, and unfortunately, there isn't any. I mean, no major ones. It's that lonely season of no racing. This is the hardest part of the year for me, because this is what I do all year, is just watch racing every weekend. It's my life, you know. This is what I love. And when we get to this point of the year where it's just everything's over, there's no NASCAR. It's like crazy to think there's no NASCAR race this weekend. There's no IndyCar races. There hasn't been for a while. It's been tough not even being able to see IndyCar. All this off-season rumors and stuff, and now we're in Endurance Championship. They're done. IMSA's been done since Petit. I mean, we got 2 more Formula 1 races. We got the Vegas Grand Prix and then Abu Dhabi, and that's it. That's all we got. Formula 2 as well as at Yas Island for their season finale. That's at Abu Dhabi as well. Yeah, that's it. That's all we got. That's going to round out the year. So, with that being said, though, we do have a Radioactive of the Week. So I'm going to go over that real quick, and then I got a few more things I want to talk about, and I'll send you guys out of here for this fine Tuesday evening. Radioactive of the Week, our shout out for last week is Riley Mobley. He ended up guessing the correct driver on that quote that I had last week. It was Denny Hamlin. He nailed it. He nailed it. So shout out to you, Riley Mobley. The quote for this week is, and I quote, "My exits are so blank loose." If you can guess which driver says that quote in the post after the podcast, you will get a shout out in next week's episode, like Riley Mobley. So make sure to do that. And this one's a pretty easy one. I kind of left the low hanging fruit again for you guys. You know what I do. I love my fans. I gotta do what I gotta do to give them a chance for a shout out. So good luck to everybody there on that post, and may you be the one to get the shout out next week. Alrighty. I guess the last few things to wrap up here is next week we will be back here on Tuesday, and since there's no races to review for this weekend coming up, we are going to do what we did in the mid season of NASCAR. We are going to do a driver by driver season review. We are going to grade everybody's 2023 NASCAR season, all the Cup drivers, and give you our grades. And we'll see how they compare to the grades that we gave them in the mid-season. So make sure to tune into that. It should be fun. We'll see if we can get Dallas in here. Maybe we can get Jared in here as well. We'll see if we can get a full house here in the podcast for that. That should be fun. And then we will also preview next week the Vegas Grand Prix, which I'm gonna be at. So that's gonna be fun. So we'll preview that before we set that race up next, or not this weekend, but next weekend. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Dallas Seward. He is a member on our YouTube channel. So if you want to become a member, just like Dallas, and get a shout out on every one of our podcasts, or our live streams, broadcasts, videos, everything, go join our membership program. There's many tiers for you to choose from. Depending on the level you want to support us, all of that goes back to help create more of this amazing content on YouTube. So please go check that out, and we would greatly appreciate it if you became a member of our channel. Also, go check out our Patreon. You can become a member there as well. It gives you access to our Discord as well. You can come chill with us. Whenever I'm in here editing videos on Discord, I'm just chilling in here. You guys can come chill out and talk with me and hang out. We can talk some racing, have a good time there, and maybe even get you on a podcast or a broadcast as well. Something that you guys would really appreciate and love. It would be fun to have you guys here. So go check out our membership program and pick a tier that best suits your interest. I also want to give a big shout out to a channel partner of ours, King of Camo, Nate and Ryan. Those are some awesome guys right there. Go check out their channel. If you love guns, if you love modifications, customizations, paint jobs, you name it, these guys got it for you. They've even got some pretty funny skits in there. Go check it out. Those guys are some great time. And if you guys enjoy their content, or you guys go check them out, make sure to leave a comment on one of their videos. Tell them that the Dega Boys sent you. We would like to thank them for everything they do for us. They were some awesome channel, great guys to talk to, and they will hook you up with some gun modifications, some paint jobs. Go check out their Borderlands gun. If you guys see it on their channel, it is awesome. I am a huge fan of that paint job. They did an amazing job on that. And go tell them that the Dega Boys sent you. Go leave a comment. Go leave them a subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that as well. Also, go check out all of our socials. They're all up in the bottom of the screen now. Go follow us on X. Go follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Tom puts a lot of work into the TikTok and Facebook. I put a little bit of work into the X. Haven't posted on there in a while, but make sure to go subscribe or go and follow us there. Get all more updates and posts from the Dega Boys. I also want to thank everybody that subscribed to our channel. My goodness, we are growing so fast. Every time I look, we got more and more subscribers coming into this channel, into this platform, the hub of motorsports. People are finding it. People are here. People are tuning in. I want to thank you guys so much. Every one of your likes, comments, subscriptions means the absolute world to me and Tom. We could not do any of this without you. We love motorsports. We love racing. We love connecting with people that have the same passions and dreams and interests as us. So we really, really appreciate it. If there's anything you guys would like to see, also leave it in a comment. We might be able to make that happen for you. We got a lot of good stuff coming in the off season. You guys got to stay tuned. While the off season's going on, the content ain't stopping. We're going to be here every Tuesday night for this podcast. We're also going to be continuing with some more NSR broadcasts, as well as some interesting videos and topics that we're going to go over during the off season. Lots of race or season predictions, race by race for all racing series. You guys definitely do not want to miss any of that action. And with that being said, that's going to do it. It's going to do it. Don't let the no racing action disappoint you. Make sure to tune into the Dega Boys. We will have you covered and get your fix during the off seasons. But 2 more Formula One races remaining in the season. So we'll be here to preview those as they come available. But thank you guys again. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And I cannot wait to see you guys in the next one.